Well, joining me now is founder, Young Empowered Programmers, Olasheni Cole. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast. Now, this workspace revolution seems to be experiencing a boom across the world. How are Nigerians, from your experience as a founder, how are Nigerians tapping into this? Quickly.
Well, Nigeria is actually embracing it, and it's actually something that is really going at a very fast pace now. Actually, my company is also a beneficiary of this. We actually are in a co-working space also. So one of the things that this helps with is startups that can't really afford to get their own office space, rent, pay a huge sum of amount to rent a space. They can use these co-working spaces to get, to work.
How does this work? Break it down. How does this work?
Okay.
Especially when you have to share spaces with people and you have to split. Do they have to split the cost for rent?
Okay. The way it works is that the co-working spaces, they have a particular fee which they charge, and you come in and you get free internet with the fee you pay, internet, workspace, and also some other things also. Now, the biggest benefits of co-working spaces is the network that you get. For instance, let's say, like my company, for instance, what we do is programming. For instance, you could network with other people into designs, advertising. So you don't need to go out looking for other companies to help you with.
But there are challenges to this as well, because you are you are going to be sharing spaces with strangers, people perhaps you do not know.
Well, that is there, but also the benefits are actually outweigh the disadvantages.
So tell us what challenges you face so far.
Well, challenges that we face so far, sometimes you might want your privacy in a way, and that might not be there 100%. That might be a challenge. But looking at it, the way workspaces are now, organized, the privacy is not really 100% of a problem, because sometimes you could work and if you want to make things, let me use the word coded in a way, you can actually do that also in your workspace. So the challenges, like I said earlier, outweigh
the disadvantages. And in looking forward now, what would you want to see, especially with regards to building on all of this for startups especially?
Well, what I would want to see is, for instance, my company here in Nigeria having virtual offices all around the world. So let's say, for instance, I want to have meetings with all of the guys all around the world. We could have virtual meetings online. So I believe that that's where Nigeria is going to in this workspace revolution that is happening in the world now. So I see Nigeria getting to that point.
And with the fact that internet seems to be a challenge, especially for some persons, accessing it, is there any challenge you have faced so far? Well,
internet, yes, has been a challenge, but at the workspace where we run, internet has not really been a challenge, because we've been using a very, very good one here in Nigeria. And well, like you said, internet is a very big issue. And like I said earlier, there are new internet companies coming into Nigeria, and they are actually bringing in good value. So, like I said earlier, we would see that more of these people coming in will help to scale up co-working spaces.
Now, for people who are wondering, because I believe that not everyone understands that there are issues or things like co-working space, how do you make them understand the benefits, especially for startups?
Okay.
Perhaps you want to talk to people about the benefits, educating people how to tap into all of this.
Okay, as a startup, you don't really need to spend so much, because you want to have an office and also you want to work from somewhere. Co-working spaces can help you cut your running costs by more than half. So the co-working spaces helps you with internet, the space, and they also help you with networking, which is very, very important, because sometimes you want to leverage on some other people's experiences to be able to enter into some other fields, which would help your startup also. So I believe that a lot of startups should embrace co-working spaces and embrace the revolution that is happening now in Nigeria.
Now, talk to us basically. This workspace or spaces that are available are basically for startups, right? Because I heard you say earlier on that these are for startups who may not have what it takes to rent all the big spaces. Talk to us about the cost on startups who are just coming up. How would they afford all of this? Talk to us.
Okay, basically, many workspaces around now, with as low as 1,000 naira, you can actually have a workspace for a day.
So the rent for a day or
Yeah,
for a week
for a
or
day.
for a month?
There are different packages actually. Okay. If you want daily, weekly, monthly, and you can even have for a whole year. So it depends on what package works for you.
All right. Now, what's the process of registration? Maybe I'm a startup company and I want to, approach to commence that. How do I go about it? Okay. What are the registration processes and all of that? Okay,
basically you have to be into something that is viable, into something that we all know that, okay, fine, what you're doing is actually viable and you're not into something called fraud, So once it is verified that you're into something viable, then you can now go into the next process, which is actually getting your space. So like I said earlier, it's made it very easier for us as startups because paying rent nowadays, we know how it is right now. So it helps us with the rent, also helps us with internet also. You don't have to buy so much internet bundles.
What other services are available for startups who are coming to subscribe to the Uber space or office space?
Okay, some other packages available are, you could also get mentorship also in those kind of environments. And some of them also have
for free or?
Well, it depends. Sometimes they get free mentorship classes, sessions rather, and some are also paid. It depends on the speakers and some other logistics. So there are other things like you have a very nice kitchen space, a lot of advantages actually, a lot.
So what are the other kind of services that may not be allowed within this space? How do you go about regulation where you have the right for this, but you have to be regulated like this? Or talk to us about regulation. What do you keep within the space and what is not allowed?
Okay, in the workspace, it's actually basically for work purposes alone. Okay. So anything outside working is actually not encouraged in the workspace. So that is why in the workspace, and again, one thing again that happens in the workspace is because it's a workspace, a lot of young people are there working. So for you to come in and do something else, you wouldn't even have that inspiration.
So those who are working can't entertain the visitors?
Well, you can entertain visitors. There are actually visitors lounges around in the workspace. So if you have a visitor, you just sit in the lounge and you could have your meeting with the visitor.
Are there spaces for conferences, for anyone who wants to have conferences?
Yeah, there are also spaces for conferences and meetings and workshops also.
But what happens in the situation where you're having a conference and there's a loud noise from your conference and then there are others who are working within the space who want some level of decorum or maybe no noise and things like that? How do you handle that?
Okay, well, some workspaces actually have the soundproof in all these places, like the conference rooms and all that, to make sure that the noise doesn't disturb other people. Because some other workspaces also are used for live programs also. Yeah, so they're actually padded so that noise from outside doesn't interfere with what they're doing inside.
With acoustics.
Yes.
All right, Olaseni Cole, thank you so much for coming on the
program.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.